On April 5, 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102, making it illegal for American citizens to own gold. Citizens were ordered to surrender their gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates to the Federal Reserve. The penalty for non-compliance was a fine of $10,000 and up to 10 years in prison. This was not the last time a government confiscated private wealth. It happened 5 documented times in the 20th century alone. Today we document all 5, and the 5 methods that allowed some people to protect what they had. Every confiscation in this video is documented through official government orders, congressional records, court filings, or peer-reviewed historical research. Every protection method is legal, documented, and verified. Confiscation 1. The U.S. Gold Confiscation of 1933. Executive Order 6102. Signed by President Roosevelt on April 5, 1933, required all persons in the United States to deliver all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates to the Federal Reserve Bank by May 1, 1933. The order is publicly available at the National Archives at archives.gov. Citizens were compensated at the fixed rate of $20.67 per troy ounce, the official government price. Within months of the confiscation, the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 revalued gold to $35 per ounce, a 69% increase. Citizens who had surrendered their gold received $20.67. The government's new gold valuation was $35. The difference, approximately $14.33 per ounce, represented a direct transfer of wealth from private holders to the U.S. Treasury. According to economic historian Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz, in their 1963 book, A Monetary History of the United States, published by Princeton University Press, this revaluation effectively increased the money supply and allowed the Treasury to recapitalize the banking system at the expense of private gold holders. The order remained in effect until President Ford signed legislation in August 1974, restoring American citizens' right to own gold, 41 years after the original confiscation. Confiscation 2. Soviet agricultural collectivization, 1929 to 1933. Between 1929 and 1933, the Soviet government under Joseph Stalin implemented forced collectivization of agricultural land across the USSR. According to historian Robert Conquest's 1986 book, The Harvest of Sorrow, published by Oxford University Press, the state confiscated privately owned farms, livestock, and equipment throughout Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and the North Caucasus. The economic mechanics are documented in Soviet state archives, portions of which were declassified after 1991 and analyzed by historian Andrea Graziosi at the University of Naples. Private farmers, known as kulaks, had their property inventoried and seized under decree of the Central Executive Committee and the Council of People's Commissars, dated February 1, 1930. The decree is archived in the State Archive of the Russian Federation. The resulting famine, known in Ukraine as the Holodomor, killed an estimated 3.5 to 7.5 million people, according to a 2010 demographic study published in Europe-Asia Studies by Stephen Wheatcroft. The confiscation of food-producing assets directly caused mass starvation. Ukrainian parliament formally recognized the Holodomor as genocide in 2006. Confiscation 3. Nazi Germany's Aryanization Program, 1933 to 1945. The systematic confiscation of Jewish-owned property in Nazi Germany, known officially as Aryanization, was implemented through a sequence of legal instruments beginning with the law for the restoration of the professional civil service in April 1933 and culminating in the 11th decree to the Reich citizenship law in November 1941, which stripped German Jews of citizenship and transferred their assets to the German Reich. According to economist Martin Dean's 2008 book, Robbing the Jews, published by Cambridge University Press in association with the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, the total value of property confiscated from European Jews during this period has been estimated at between $230 and $320 billion in contemporary values by the World Jewish Restitution Organization. The documentation was meticulous. The Nazis generated detailed property inventories for every confiscated asset, many of which survive in German federal archives and have been used in subsequent restitution proceedings. Confiscation 4. The Cyprus Bank Bail-in of 2013. On March 25, 2013, the government of Cyprus and the European Union reached an agreement requiring depositors at Laiki Bank and the Bank of Cyprus to contribute to a banking sector bailout, a mechanism that became known as a bail-in. This was not a voluntary arrangement. It was imposed by emergency legislation. Under the final agreement, documented in the official Eurogroup statement of March 25, 2013, depositors with accounts above 100,000 euros at the Bank of Cyprus had approximately 47.5% of their uninsured deposits converted into equity, effectively confiscated to recapitalize the bank. The total amount confiscated from uninsured depositors was approximately 10.6 billion euros, according to Central Bank of Cyprus data published in their 2013 annual report. Deposits below 100,000 euros were protected under EU deposit guarantee rules, but above that threshold, there was no legal protection and no advance warning. Depositors learned of the confiscation when they tried to access their accounts. Confiscation 5. Civil asset forfeiture in the United States, present day. Civil asset forfeiture is a legal mechanism that allows U.S. law enforcement agencies to seize property suspected of being connected to criminal activity, without charging the owner with a crime. According to the Institute for Justice's 2020 report, Policing for Profit, federal agencies and state governments seized more than $68.8 billion in assets through civil forfeiture between 2000 and 2019. That figure comes from Department of Justice and Treasury Department official forfeiture fund reports. The critical legal detail: the burden of proof falls on the property owner to prove their assets are innocent, not on the government to prove the assets are guilty. A 2015 investigation by the Washington Post documented 61,998 cash seizures made on highways and elsewhere since September 11, 2001, totaling $2.5 billion, more than half of which were made without the filing of any criminal charges whatsoever. The Supreme Court has upheld civil forfeiture as constitutional, though individual states have enacted varying levels of reform. Now, the 5 documented protection methods that allowed some individuals to preserve wealth across all 5 of these confiscation events. Method 1. Jurisdictional diversification. Assets held in multiple sovereign jurisdictions cannot be confiscated by a single government action. Swiss private banking, documented in the Bilderberg and Rothschild records we covered in previous videos, specifically serves this function. Method 2. Physical gold outside the banking system. During the 1933 confiscation, gold held in foreign vaults, particularly in Switzerland and Canada, was not subject to Executive Order 6102. According to historian Barry Eichengreen's 1992 book, Golden Fetters, published by Oxford University Press, sophisticated American investors had transferred gold abroad before the order was issued. Method 3. Real estate in stable foreign jurisdictions. Property held in Switzerland, Germany, or Canada was not subject to U.S. confiscation orders, Soviet decrees, or EU bail-in mechanisms, because it was outside those jurisdictions' legal reach. Method 4. Trusts and legal entity structures in protected jurisdictions. Assets held in properly structured Swiss or Liechtenstein trusts were beyond the reach of most national confiscation mechanisms throughout the 20th century, because the legal ownership resided with the trust entity, not the individual. This is the same structure we documented in the Dynasty Trust video. Method 5. Diversification across asset classes with different confiscation risk profiles. The U.S. government confiscated gold in 1933, but not silver, real estate, or foreign securities. The Soviet government confiscated agricultural land, but not foreign bank accounts. The Cyprus bail-in affected bank deposits, but not physical property or assets held outside the banking system. No single confiscation mechanism has ever captured all asset classes simultaneously. which means diversification across asset types remains the most historically consistent protection. 5 confiscations. 5 protection methods, all documented, all verified. The pattern across history is consistent. Governments confiscate what is visible, accessible, and legally within their jurisdiction. Assets that are invisible, inaccessible, or outside their jurisdiction survive. Understanding this pattern does not require paranoia. It requires reading the historical record. Subscribe to Hidden Wealth Files. New investigations every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The truth is in the documents. Now you know where to look.